Feel free to check out my TeePublic after the video, and support me on Patreon. Watch till the end of the video for more. So while I've been waiting for an oversized primate to punch the ever-living crap out of an abnormally large lizard, I've been expanding my horizons when it comes to the realm of tokusatsu. But more specifically, I decided to dive into perhaps the most famous tokusatsu property, Ultraman.
Okay, the Shin Ultraman trailer just dropped while I was in the middle of editing this, and all I have to say is,
Recently, a good friend of mine, Ryan Zaton, is calling all Ultra fans with this little project called One Ultra Exciting Battle, where we all get together and talk about our favorite moments in the 55-year history of this great franchise. Buy my shirt, by the way. So what's my One Ultra Exciting Battle, you may ask? Well, here it is. The Return of Ultraman is my absolute favorite entry in the Showa era of the series, if not ever. I don't know, I still need to watch Tiga Nexus. The Return of Ultraman is a series with tons of compelling drama involving an incredibly well-written protagonist, amazing supporting characters, with set pieces and effects that are just outstanding, tied to some of the greatest storytelling the franchise has seen. But as for my one ultra exciting battle, I decided to pick the moment I felt truly defines not only the show, but the franchise as a whole. It is the very first thing that comes to mind when I think Ultraman. And that is the fight against Gudon and Twintail in episodes 5 and 6. Two giant monsters attack Tokyo and battle Monsters vs. Monster Attack Team. During episode 5, we see our protagonist Hideki go doing everything he can to do the right thing. When Matt engages the monster Gudon, a child is nearby, all while Hideki is ordered to fire at the monster. However, he refuses the order, not willing to put the child in even more danger. But as a majority of Matt don't believe his story, he is punished for his actions, being put on house arrest. As the episode goes on, we see Hideki's willingness to protect and care for others, even wishing his girlfriend Aki to stay safe when she goes to the mall with her friends, all while small earthquakes are occurring. Unfortunately, a larger one ends up hitting the mall, putting Aki in grave danger, as a massive egg rises from the earth. And unable to do anything about it, Hideki tries to help save the civilians who are trapped under the rubble of the mall, including an injured Aki. However, as soon as Hideki is summoned to return to base, commanding officers at MAT plan to drop a destructive bomb onto the egg. He then tries to persuade the commanding officers to not go through with it, as it could kill the innocent civilians who are trapped in the area. Because of this, Hideki resigns from MAT and leaves the team. Unfortunately, as Hideki, Ken, and other MAT members are trying to clear the rubble, the monster Twintail emerges from the egg, and Hideki engages the monster as Ultraman. All of a sudden, Gudon appears, and we're now into episode 6. As Ultraman is fighting the two monsters at once, he is easily overpowered, which forces him to revert back to Hideki, who is then retrieved by Matt as the civilians are rescued. And then we get to the hospital where Aki wants Hideki to return to Matt while she recovers. We also start to notice that other members of Matt are starting to follow Hideki as an example. They also believe using such powerful weapons at the risk of killing civilians, including the use of an incredibly powerful bomb named the Spiner, which unfortunately has begun preparations for use. And it's at this moment where Matt, Hideki, and the Sakata family remain in Tokyo, as Hideki reminds everyone the purpose of not just Matt, but being a soldier. To protect the lives of the innocent and stand against those who threaten them. This encourages Matt to stand before their commanders and convince them that they will take on the monsters alone, putting their lives on the line for the safety of the civilians. The commander allows them to go through with their plan, warning them that Matt will be disbanded if their operation is a failure. I mean, it would be disbanded if there's nothing left of them anyway, but... Then, upon attacking the two monsters as they resurface, Matt becomes overpowered, but we're lucky enough to damage Twintail. Then, Hideki turns into Ultraman, and takes on the monsters, but with Matt at his side, and eventually reigns victorious. Afterwards, Hideki checks on his fellow comrades and they all celebrate as Aki finally recovers in the comfort of her home with her brothers, Ken and Jiro. So what makes this two-parter great exactly? Well, for starters, it's intense, it's beautifully shot, and very well acted and well paced. But instead of going into all of that, I'm going to introduce you all to the 5 traits of an effective leader. First is integrity. Throughout these episodes, we see Hideki stay loyal to what he believes is doing the right thing, even when others don't really follow his logic. He is committed to protecting people to the point where he's willing to disobey orders, and that really says something about his character. Second is vision. Hideki is very vocal about what he thinks is right and wrong, especially when it comes to the use of devastating weaponry in such a populated city. His dedication even leaves him quitting Matt just so he could set an example for others. Third is self-awareness. When fighting Gudon and Twintail for the first time, Hideki knew almost right away that he has to quit fighting as Ultraman before his color timer ran out. He knew he couldn't take them on alone, and continued to insist on doing everything he could for the greater good. Fourth is decisiveness. While Matt and the Sakutas are together, Hideki encourages his comrades to stand up to their commanding officers and requests that they don't use the Spiner and that they will face the 2 monsters alone. It's a very bold move, but it ends up inspiring Matt to band as one and fight to the end, which goes into the 5th trait, collaboration. In the final battle against Gudon and Twintail, Matt uses everything they have up until they're overpowered, but then, as Hideki becomes Ultraman, they don't sit back and watch. They continue to fight with him. And after they win, the team celebrates by thanking and congratulating one another. And after all those times the team went against Hideki for being what they viewed as incompetent, they realize the example and the standard he was setting, which allows them to finally band together with a common goal and win the day. And because of all this 2-parter really stuck with me, and honestly, you can break it up into 5 segments that represent each of these traits. But how does this define Ultraman exactly? Well, Ultraman teaches you that no matter what, you should always do the right thing, whether it gets you hurt, ridiculed, punished, or anything of the matter. Because the example you set for others will catch on, and before you know it, you're inspiring others to become the best they can be, being thoughtful, courageous, positive, and simply better than they were before. And that is why episodes 5 and 6 of The Return of Ultraman is my one ultra exciting moment. And thank you very much for watching. I really hope I did this little microcosm of the Ultra series enough justice to get people interested in the franchise to some degree. And I want to thank Ryan Zaton for this fantastic collaborative effort. It's truly wonderful, and I honestly had a great time writing and talking about this. But if you like what you see, then definitely consider supporting me on Patreon, where for a single $1, your name can appear at the end of every future upload. And other than that, you can also get early access to videos, exclusive content, commissioned video requests, and receive a t-shirt of your choice from a TeePublic, like this design that celebrates the 55 years of Ultraman. Or you can get my Ultraman shirt and mask combo, if you're into that. And once I reach enough patrons, I'll review the H-Man, the Secret of the Telegen, and the Human Vapor. So if that's something you like to see, then go support me on Patreon. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Titan Goji, signing off. Also, I can't help but feel that this final shot of Hideki is hilarious, but in a good way, as it's so charming and endearing. I love it.